What is up, 7.3 fans? Welcome back to the 7.3 Garage. My name is Brandon. Today, we are gonna be installing some LED lights into the dashboard. I purchased some on Amazon. I really appreciate everybody's input. I did a lot of research. All the pictures you guys sent me were awesome. It's something I've really been eager to do on my truck, and I haven't really, I guess to just be honest with myself, I've been really lazy about it. I had other things to worry about, obviously. We're trying to get this thing back on the road. But since we are back on the road now, I noticed driving this thing around that the dash lights are just getting really dull. Those light bulbs, those incandescent bulbs are probably like 20 plus years old. Excuse me. So we are gonna, today, that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be taking out the old dash lights. We're gonna attempt to not mess up any of that green film on the back there, because I'm gonna try to match, I want a clear face or just a nice white LED behind the can't talk this morning, behind the dash face. So that is the goal this morning. We have to pull the 300ZX out of the garage, so we're gonna do that real quick. So the other day, I ended up going over to Best Buy and I purchased some more GoPro accessories. This is what I'm gonna be using from now on. I was using a suction cup mount. It's kind of annoying, so got myself a handle and a head mount, which is goofy as shit, but it is what it is. So we're gonna get this backed out, so we got a little extra room to work here with the door. I don't like to squeeze around, but we're gonna back the old 300ZX out of the garage real quick, and then we will get started on our light project for the day. Man, this car is so much fun to drive. It just has such low miles on it that I hate putting miles on it. It's got 53,000 miles on it, and I hate putting miles on it, but I had to do it when the truck was down. I had no other way to get around. It was either that or rent a car, which I was not about to do. Okay. All right, that'll work for me. Just lock this door up. So this will sit up. Wow, it's beautiful out right now. It's like mid 50s, I think. All right, so this gives us obviously a lot more room to work. There's all the old junk. A lot more room to work here. Oh, all right. Can figure out where that's coming from now. Not today though, we're just gonna wipe it up. Close the shop down. All right, let me get my head mount off and I will show you guys basically what we're gonna be doing today. Just to show everybody, these are the lights that I took out. These are just super cheap. I think I got these from Napa. They work pretty well. They were bright when I was using them, but I don't know if they're just a cheap quality. Some of them are flickering, some are not. That's kind of why I wanted to change it. So these are the lights I ended up going with. Someone recommended these to me. I think you say Oxyto, something like that. But they said they have really good customer service, and they said all the bulbs are very, very high quality. I don't know how well you could see that, but let me see if I can get these out of the packaging for you. So they come in a nice little static bag, which is pretty cool. You can see the difference in the bulb and the diodes. There's multiple smaller diodes instead of just, you know, 5 or 6 big large ones. But the bottom is different. It doesn't have that little, you can see how this got a little wire on the bottom. For those of you who have done this, you guys know all about this stuff. This is something, the first time I'm doing any of this, but these are insanely bright. Very, very happy with them. So we are gonna get those dialed in. As far as I know, just from the things that I've watched, it looks like, and we're gonna get our lights up in here so we can see what's going on. It looks like you basically just take off these couple of trim pieces and pull this out. I hope I don't have to take off my column mount. I shouldn't. I don't think I'm gonna have to. If we do, we do. It is what it is. But this has to come off, and then once you get basically the trim off, the bezel trim, there's a couple of pieces of hardware behind there. Unplug it and it's out. So we're gonna get working on that. Okay, I think we have all of our tools here. We got our handy dandy magnetic light, LED light, which is awesome to work with. So I think these come off first. These things are a pain, man. If nobody's messed with this, mine is obviously broken. I gotta get another one of these. But the tab had broken off and the thing floats in there and it's super annoying. Just drives me nuts. But I think the key is, and I've taken this off a couple times, is just be real gentle with it. It's very delicate plastic, especially if it's original and old. It's 20-year-old plastic. Whoops. All right, I gotta remember how to get this out here. Let's see. There's a tab in here. Press, and it should come right out. There it is. Okay, that's out. All right, let's see what size these things are here. Ooh, that's it, 7mm, good. I'm gonna turn off that terrible buzzing in just a second. Oh, you know what I do need is a magnet. I had to wipe up this oil. Of course, I acknowledge it, and what do? I immediately step in it. That's me. So these are awesome. If you guys ever see these at Advanced Auto or whatever, these things are so good to have, just in case you got to pull something out. They work awesome. In case you drop something. Wow, that buzzing is really annoying. I'm working to get that off for everybody. So that's annoying me. Okay, that's out. Now I think it just basically, oh wow, that's really it, huh? All right, there it is. Nice, not terrible. Is this hitting? Man, I think it is. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push this back, and I'm gonna get this off. We have successfully removed our gauge pod. I get a lot of questions about this. This is for a Super Duty, actually. Sorry, I'm trying to get my level here. This is actually for a Super Duty, and the only difference is that you have to do is trim where the blinker goes here, and it fits right on top of an OBS column, so pretty awesome. It's autometer. All right, we got that out of the way. Let's try and get this off again. Let's see, there we go. I need a little more slack out of these wires anyhow, so it actually ends up working. Oh man. You know what, this will help if I pull that down. Just grab my keys real quick. We can get this down. Just throw it into neutral real quick. How's that? Oh yeah, I like that a lot. What is... Okay. How is that connected? I can't see. Oh, got blinkers going on. It was touch and go there for a second, but we were able to get this off here. So now it looks like, let me get my light here. We have another piece of hardware here, a piece of hardware up top. And it looks like 4 on each side. So let's get those out of there. All right, guys, we just got this out. What a pain in the ass it is to get this out. I guess all the videos that I've watched on doing dash stuff, and I really wasn't paying attention, must have all been manual trucks, because trying to negotiate the gear selector and trying to get the plugs out from the back and the whole nine, it was, whoo, what a pain. And unfortunately, my truck, the guy who I bought it from, it did a lot of sitting, so the dash has a pretty solid crack here, and back here where this mounts go, where the hardware mounts go for the top bolts that hold the dash bezel or the dash cluster in, have broken off just from, they're probably just super brittle and they broke. So we're gonna negotiate that once we go for a reinstall. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get my table set up and we're gonna start taking this thing apart here and see what we can do. We have our table set up. It's always nice to have some nice bright LEDs in the garage, but the table's all set up, and this was a giant pain in the ass to get out. But we're gonna start taking this apart. These look just like, I'll have to see what size torque bits they are, but we're gonna get this off and see what we can do about getting some of the face off and start scraping off some of that green stuff so we could see that nice white LED shine through. A lot of stuff going on here. I had to do a little bit of research online, but I was able to figure out how to get everything off. So the spoon trick I saw online, they basically, because these needles, I'm trying to pull them off, I'm trying to be super gentle with this because I've never done this before, but I looked it up and some guy online said, hey, just basically take 2 spoons and real easy, just pry up the needle off the gauge. So that ended up working very well. So we're gonna get started on this. People said to use acetone. They said the black stuff doesn't come off as much, but I'm gonna try a little area here. I don't know if I have acetone, but I do have goof off, so we're gonna try a very small area with this to test and basically just go from there. So I got all my lights here. I got super glue because the gauge face, I don't know if you can see the glue outline, basically sits right on here. This one I had noticed recently, I could see more light coming around the bottom of the gauge needle. And you can see that this is loose. So we're gonna be super gluing it's gonna have to be super glued back down all the main spots just to hold the gauge face on the gauge properly. But we're gonna continue on here and see how we do. Just a quick update here. I'm feverishly working with this. This is very time consuming, like everybody has told me. And I have all the right tools. I'm taking my time. I have basically everything in my favor. But it is very, very tedious. As you can see, I got the new LED bulb is back there. This side is completely done. I used a ton of toothpicks. Yeah, these are toothpicks. A ton of Q-tips, and the goof off seems to be working very well. But there's certain parts that are painted a different color, and you have to be very, very careful. This one I just got peeled off, and I just used regular super glue, and this stuff worked amazing. I put basically where all the old marks were, I kind of prepped the surface just a little bit, and it worked very well. So you could see all the green, even if you hold it up to the light here. Let me see if that does any justice. Yeah, it works pretty decent, but you could see all that green's got to come off. And basically the back face, or the back of the gauge, where all the black is, really doesn't come off as easy as you'd think. So I'm just trying to be careful, as I move this thing around, or as I, move the product around. Just try to go over it again and again, and just, it's not going to be, a work of art, but just to be tedious, I guess, is my only word of caution for this. So I'm going to keep going with this. This one, like I said, is already off. And we have the last 2, and hopefully we'll be ready to get this thing back into the truck and fire it up. So to show everybody what basically this entails, this one's done. I just finished it up. This is the back of the gauge face. So where all that white is, there used to be green. So hold it up to the light. You can see it's white now. The only thing you gotta be careful of, unless you want it to be white, is where there's red, that can also be removed, but just be careful. This is definitely not something you wanna rush through, because if you do it and you make a mistake, you could always color it back in, but it's not gonna have that same factory look there. So I have the surface already prepped with the goof off, so I am going to super glue this back down, finish up this last piece here, and get it plugged in. Took me a little bit to get back to this point here, but this is, let me shut my door so you can listen to an annoying beep. This is the final product here, which I say I'm pretty happy with it. There was a little bit of a technical difficulty. I'll show you in a second. I ended up placing some of the needles back on there, but they ended up being in the wrong position. So for example, the RPM gauge was reading 500 RPM when the ignition was on and the truck was not running, and the speedometer was at 10 miles an hour sitting still. So just a couple things I had to adjust. So I'm actually going to get the truck out of the garage and go drive it and see, and just make sure everything's good and everything comes up together. The oil temp, or the oil pressure, excuse me, at the top left here had a small issue, but overall I'm super happy with how everything ended up turning out. So I'm gonna go ahead and mess with this thing for a little bit, and just wanted to show everybody what the final product ended up looking like. This is what you get for being lazy. This is the factory plastic cover here on the dash, and instead of undoing the 2 more fasteners, it ended up breaking, and it cracked the dash piece. So we called the local Ford dealership, and they ended up having to order one for me, but other than that, it should be pretty good. So happy with it, but I'll have to get a video of it maybe tonight, actually at nighttime, and see how everything looks. But overall, pretty happy. Can't really complain about it. All right, guys, it is now nighttime. I am going to back the truck in, but I want to show everybody what the dash looks like while it's nighttime. This is the final product. I'm overall very happy with how it came out. Actually, I think it matches the pillar gauges and the column gauge as well, so I'm pretty satisfied with it. So overall, the entire process took me around between 5 and 6 hours to do, and that was just me taking my time. There's a lot of old plastic parts you're going to be dealing with. Just be very tedious, very gentle with everything. Take your time, and basically got it done with just basic hand tools, a quarter-inch drive socket wrench, and some flathead screwdrivers, things like that. So it actually ended up being pretty easy to do overall. Just make sure you take your time with it. Be very tedious with the Q-tips, and I used Goof Off. It worked very well, as everybody saw. But everything ends up working out pretty good if you just take your time and be methodical with everything. As always, thank you guys for watching. You know I really appreciate the support. Got a lot of messages today from people on Instagram that really liked the setup, so thank you for that. And I look forward to making some more videos coming up here in the future. We have a lot of cool things on the itinerary this year, just from the 7.3 world, and just things that are gonna be happening with this truck, so make sure that you stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your friends if they're into 7.3s. We got a lot of cool stuff, like I said, that will be coming up. That's all I have for this one. My name is Brandon. This is the 7.3 Garage. We will see you next time.